Welcome to Watercolor Wednesday of the Church of the Palms, and I'm Kathy Futrell, and today we're going to be doing still life painting in watercolor. I have a couple of examples in different media. The first one I have here is an oil painting of a still life, and it's objects usually that are like wine bottles, glass, fruit, vegetables, plants, things like that. This one I did when I was a student at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, working on my master's. This particular one is an acrylic painting done much later, and it also has the subject of flowers and tea kettles and things that are usually found in your kitchen. This one is the watercolor. Now, we're not going to get that elaborate today with our watercolor paintings, but I think that everybody will get the idea of watercolor still life. Here are some examples that you're going to be wanting to set up for yourself, or you can take a photo of the still life that we have here today to work from next week when you're finishing your own still life. And I know that some of the teacups are pretty elaborate with their patterns and designs, and you might want to modify that a little bit. So I have, when I demonstrate today, I will be working with a sketch and then the wash, and I probably won't finish, but what I have to show everybody is the seconds. This is what I'm going to get started with, and then I'm going to switch to this little painting and add some detail. So I have a larger piece of paper here to do the, I see what you're doing. So here's the one that I have already started, and what I'm going to do right now is to sketch from the still life that's similar to yours. So I begin, and if I may be just really basic here, this is a circle. I know that we all know this is a circle, right? This is a circle when you're looking straight down into it. But when you tilt it, you have a different angle. So as I stand up and look down into my teacup, I may have a distorted angle. If I sit, then I will have the same perspective that you will have, okay? So the oval now that I see is a little more of an ellipse. And so this is how I start. It's like a gesture. And then I begin to shape, and I'm going to use an eraser when I need to, but I'm going to just lightly get the outline. Oh, I have to stand up. Let's see here. I'm going to slightly move this shape and create the cup. And when you have a symmetrical object, you have to try to make, sometimes even drawing a line down the middle of it will assist you in getting equal on both sides. Then, all right, this, I need to clean up my sketch and erase all the lines except for the one I want to keep. And again, I have simply gestured, and I look as I draw. So I'm getting the shape of this cup, and now the handle, and that way I can see the saucer that's next, that's underneath it, and how it relates. Then you can see, I can see through the handle this line and here. So I know just where to stop my saucer, okay? And it curves around. This piece of paper, by the way, I'm trying to make my objects life size. So you know what size a teacup is, you know what size a saucer is, and you're trying to make, you're not trying to make it a tiny saucer. You're trying to make it life size, okay? Everybody's gonna draw it as large as it would be if you were holding it in front of your face, okay? So don't get too small with it, and don't overextend it like a Georgia O'Keeffe, flower. All right, so I have the teacup and I have the lemon. And the lemon overlaps, again, I'm doing a gesture-ish sketch, and the lemon overlaps the tea saucer, so I can remove that. The next thing I'm going to do is sketch in where my vase of flowers are. And since I didn't get this quite, I can recognize that I'm going to be cropping this paper to fit my sketch because I have all this other space. If I wanted to draw a line for the edge of the table, I could, but I'm gonna ask everybody to keep their backgrounds white, okay? The wall white and the table white, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a little bit more like this on here, and then I'm gonna switch to this and show you how I would start the detail. Now in this particular version, I did not have the vase of flowers. Instead, I added my own little tea bag. And if I wanted the vase of flowers, I might put that glass right here. And again, I have to deal with the glass in the same way that I do the teacup. What I would do at this point is I would identify all the white places. So the lighting I have, you see all, do you know why we have all these little white spots like this in the teacup? Is because this classroom has fluorescent lighting that goes all the way around the room. I might not want those fluorescent lighting. So I will tell you that the lighting I had in my studio at that time, and I think if you take a flash photograph, you can play around when you're taking your photographs, maybe you will get a photo that doesn't have those multiple lights. So maybe I'll just get one light here. This is gonna be in shadow, and this is gonna be in shadow. Okay, so I have flowers that are on this. I think I drew the same. Did I draw those flowers? It looks like I did. I think it's those white, red, and kind of pink. Yeah, I think this is it. Oh, that would be lovely to have that there. And then I can sketch. Oh, this is gonna take forever. Okay. All right, well, I think you get the idea of the flower itself. Maybe we can show that one flower real quickly to the camera. So these get kind of busy here, but these are obviously a little easier to paint. So I'm just gonna get a sketch in here, and maybe since we've done a lot of flower painting, everybody will know how to make their own interpretation of that. Practice makes perfect, let me tell you. It's the only way really to study any art medium is to do it over and over and over. And I don't care if you've done 1,000 still lifes or 1,000 seashells. I do know that I look back at some of my earlier work and I say, gee, of course, it's not always the case. Sometimes I go, wow, I did that, and now I'm doing this. Okay, but I do believe that practice makes us better. So sometimes it's nice when the flower bumps into the teapot, or especially like the fact that the lemon overlaps. And I like crunching my paintings into a space where things are touching the side. So obviously you don't need much bigger than this for your piece of paper. I'm gonna show you the first wash I would do for my teacup, because it really is a gray, it's not really a white. And so I have the colors that I'm using. So a little bit of cobalt blue and a little bit of this purple, which is my amethyst. And I like the cobalt blue and the amethyst because it gives it kind of a grayish. I know I could stick a little red orange in there and really gray it up a bit, but I like a little bit of a bright color. So what I see when I'm looking here is the shape of the cup by giving the shadows. Let's see, I see a light spot in here, and I see it a little darker there, and this is definitely a little darker right there. So it's not painting a color solid, but really letting your eyes venture around and observe where, ooh, I don't like that. Okay.
Are you overdoing it again?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I promise I'm fine. Oh, somebody brought me a paper towel. That is perfect. Thank you so much. I'll just take one part of it. Thank you, dear. So what I was doing was getting a little heavy here, and I'm just taking water to soften my edges. Okay, and I'll erase some of the highlights that I made there, but this is definitely dark on the outside. I want to keep that little gold rim, and I'll come back with color on that. Right now I'm doing the underneath part of the teacup, and now the saucer. So I want, now I just had to look again, because this edge seems darker than the saucer, but right here around the lemon and going in this direction, I see more shadow. So I really want you to observe what you see, and we're just going to work in layers. Oh, that's my pattern. I meant to finish drawing my pattern. All right, now over here, there's a little shadow here. Now, while I have this, I'm going to do a little bit of the same color with my water. And if you observe your little vase of water, oh, and I should finish the handle too. I can see the water in here. Oh boy, now this is what's fun. Let me finish this handle because there is quite a bit of dark and light on it. And the highlight of the handle, see from where you are, you can see it a little bit, right? A little bit. Okay. All right, now that's bleeding to that point. I don't want that there. So I'll take this little brush that just has water on it and soften up this edge and bring that dark here. And it really is dark right there, so I'm going to leave it that way. And let's see if I see a little more dark right here and soften that. I think that must be the shadow from the handle. And then there's some color, there's some light in here. Now, the lemon is obvious, and we're just going to take some yellow. I could use my aureolin, I can use my cadmium yellow. Any yellow that's nice and bright like that will work. But notice that the lemon, and always paint with the contour of the object in mind. So I'm seeing the heavier yellow here, and I also see a very light reflection, because any object that sits on a white table is going to have a slightly lighter, and I really should have taken away some of those pencil lines. And then I'm going to take this water and I'm going to texture just a little bit, and actually I'll come back and do more texture. I'm going to add water, and then I'm going to put a little more shadow on that. Okay, so keeping that light, and there is a highlight right there. Now, let me jump to this one, because I did a little neater job of getting the sketching done, and I'll work with this one a bit with the flower, the vase here, since I did not get that started on the other one. I observe on any, you don't paint the vase. You paint the lights and the darks. You paint what it is you see. So very nice, because now I can see all of it. Thank you. Yeah. And there's a stem in there, and there's a lot of light. Oh boy. If you look at the examples I brought in the watercolor of the wine glass that I have behind me, I think you're going to see a lot of highlights and reflections in the watercolor. And it's just really taking your time to see that. I added a tea bag here in this particular one. Let me finish up the lemon, and I'm not going to see the back of that at all because I haven't sketched, of course, where the flowers go, and there are petals that overhang here. I have to do my greens kind of like, if you use your brush, it's almost like a little sumi painting, a little there, just add a little detail to what you have here. And this, it will make your teacup have more realism.
Oh, look at that, I love it.
It's like green and everything.
Oh, wow.
It does help, yes.
Look at your flowers, they're gorgeous.
So you just get a little bit in
Okay,
there.
you can fix that.
Now, the last I would do on the, I would do a little bit more tightening, but let's say that we want to get a gold color rim. Some of your pieces do have gold and some do not. You want to go a little heavy with your paint, and I put just a touch of whatever red, orange was right there, and I would just hit the edge. But I would observe if every now and then you see a highlight, leave the white.
You realize we have 6 lights in here.
Yes, too many light sources. So there's, the other classroom was pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
And that's the handicap from working. Oh, there's not any gold showing up over there because that's the inside. Okay, I gotta pay attention. Okay, do you see what I just did? The fupa? Okay, there isn't a gold line over there. It's only in the front edge. Okay, so now I do it over here. But when you do have too many light sources, you have to make adjustments. And the truth is, your best light is to have the windows open and have one natural light when you're doing still life. This is a little bit of a wavy line too. Okay, and this will give us, oh, there's much more highlights in here, a lot more little highlights. And there's a little light on the handle. Okay, let's do some shadows. And I'm going to also shadow this lemon. So the lemon gets, I kept a highlight here, but I want to get a little heavier here. Okay, and then I'm going to just take water and soften that so that the object has not a harsh shadow, but a softer shadow. It looks like I could come up into here a little bit more. And it's a little darker over here, but that wouldn't be the case if my shadow's over there. Well, I'm telling you, you have to pay attention to what, this was a different light source when I set it up. Okay, let me soften this up a little bit. Okay. Ooh, I like what that happened. That's not supposed to happen right there. I didn't mean to do it, but sometimes the water in the water made a nice little change. You know, lemons do have a texture, and so I don't mind that at all. And if I really wanted to build some texture later, I would probably just do a little dotting, but I wouldn't make it real, you know, obvious. In fact, that's too much. But I do see a little bump here at the end. That's a dark little bump. Oh, actually, I bet it was this one. Yep. In my original shape here. Okay, so the shadows, I'm going to go back to my blue, cobalt, that might be cerulean right there, and some purple, and look at that beautiful color for the shadow. Now, with different light sources, you're going to have different values of rings. I like having one light source. So we don't see this object unless we do that and see the bottom of it, but we are going to see a really dark line under the lemon. I want to go back to the glass before I stop, but I think you're getting the idea how to sketch and work from life. It is a bit of a challenge. It always is. To see and to paint. Yeah, I'm looking at something and it's not what I see, but this is where I drew my shadows and I'm sticking with it. Okay. Also, purple is a good color to add purple blue for a shadow, and I think that lemon is the shadow is running into this. Sometimes I'll do like to go back and make a little darker line right underneath the object. I'm going to take that purple and a little bit of the brown, burnt sienna, something, I'll take the orange, just to brown it up, to put a line underneath the object. So just a darker line right here so that it sits on the table. With the vase, I want to pop that out. I'm not going to draw the tea bag right now because the truth is I forgot to bring it and I have to look at it. I don't know. I guess if you have anything in front of you, you can draw it and you can paint it because you have it in front of you to see. I'm seeing some color reflected, which might be because of the purple red flowers in, this looks like, I'm seeing the water, some rings here. And then I do see the stem, which is a green stem, and that would happen about right here, although I didn't sketch it, but it would be coming through in the water. There's always a little distortion. Sometimes what goes into the water, and this is where it goes in, disappears and shows up again in a slightly different place. So I know that seems like a strange thing to try to sketch, but I believe if you just draw what you see that you'll get where you want to go. Okay, I know we're not done with this, but you get the idea, and I know that you can get these objects sketched today and at least get the first wash on and try to get as far as you can. Sketch the objects that you have here, I mean the little pattern, and if you have to simplify it like I did, fine. I probably, to be honest, will go back and make those bolder and try to add the detail, and I'll just look at it. And I might take my pencil and draw the petals, and then I'll make the shapes. There is that object right there. There you go, so you can see how patterned that is, and it's okay to look at it. Just don't mess up your neighbor before they take their photograph. Okay, all right, have fun with your painting today, and good luck.